In this broadcast, I'm going to talk about this film I recently seen. It's called it's called The City of the Dead, starring Christopher Lee. And most young people might know Christopher Lee from the Lord of the Rings movies. He was also in The Howling back in like the 80s, 90s. Maybe it might have been like The Howling 2 or 3. He was in that. But I first seen him in these series of Dracula movies by this company called Hammer Films, and he was their Dracula. And to me, he was the best Dracula to me. I kind of liked him a whole lot better than Bella Lugosi's. To me, he was more believable as the character. Had a more uh, intimidating presence. As Dracula. So to me, he was much more believable than Bella Lugosi because Bella Lugosi was like a really small dude, maybe 5'6", 5'5". Christopher Lee, I believe, was like 6'4", 6'5". So he had a greater physical presence. So he starred in this film. There was nobody else of note in this movie, and he plays a historian, college professor. His field of expertise is occult science, particularly witchcraft. Um, I guess he specialized in the Massachusetts Salem type of witch burning thing. Cause kind of like he was talking. He was giving a powerful story about a witch, uh, an occasion that a witch was being burned. Carried to be burnt to the stake, and that while she was being burned, she the last thing she did while she was alive, she cursed everybody there. And so to hammer home his point, he was like, yeah, 3 days later, her grave was empty. And like the people who was responsible for burning her at the stake were all found dead with all their blood drained. That's kind of like how he ends his story. So he has one student who's really fascinating with this. She's asking him questions. Afterwards, she's in the class with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is upset because he's like, okay, interesting story, but I really don't believe none of this junk. And so, soon after, the young lady's brother, um, I guess he attends the college too as well. And these people don't seem like teenage college students. They seem more like students who are like on the graduate level or the doctoral level of college because they seem to be like mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s. So they seem to be at that point. So the young lady is talking to Christopher Lee, and he's telling her, yeah, if you really want to get down with some really good research on this subject, there's one of the town that where this story that I told you actually happened in is still there. You can go and do your own research, and you can use it as a subject matter for your term paper and whatnot. And when a brother comes in, he's like, yeah, doctor, I'm a scientist, and I just can't believe that a guy in Chicago can be murdered by a woman in New Orleans who sticks a pin in a wax doll. I just don't believe that. And historians come back with like, yeah, a lot of people who practice do believe that, and they have their little back and forth. So anyway, the young lady like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the town and do some research, even though her boyfriend and brother strongly disagrees with that. She decides she gonna do it anyway. So after her research, um, she's supposed to come back and meet them at a party for one of their friends. So she goes to the town, and one of the things that's great about this movie, like when she gets to this town or goes on the way to the town, the atmosphere is really creepy. It's real foggy, and the fog looked real. It looked like it would be real fog. It's real creepy. The people she meet along the way, like the guy at the gas station who gets give her directions. He's creepy. Uh, and throughout it all, the young lady is not deterred one bit. She's not scared, even though she heads over to the town. At one point, she makes a turn, and as she's turning, there's a guy standing in a fog, a real tall guy with a black overcoat and a black derby. I wouldn't have stopped for that fool, and I wouldn't have let anybody I'm riding in the car stop for this fool because that dude looks so dang creepy. But of course, she stops and he like, "Are you heading to Whitechapel?" In a real creepy voice, and she's like, "Oh yes, I'm going to White Castle. Oh, would you like a ride?" "Oh, why certainly." So the guy gets in the car and they having like a conversation in the car. And again, this dude is creepy as heck, and he's not acting overly creepy. He's doing that creepy stuff, that laid back creepy kind of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been hit there numerous times, and yeah, yeah, just real. It, it, it should disturb the average individual if you got somebody riding in the car with you like that, real monotone and real creepy, creepy on a level of almost a Tony Todd level, Candyman type, that laid back, control, creepiness where he just look, he doesn't look disfigured or anything, but it's a real tall, imposing figure. Yeah. Are you heading to White Castle? I would like a ride. Thank you. Like that. Why would you let somebody like that in your car? She lets him in the car. They are having this conversation about White Castle and the legend. Oh, the legends are, yes, they're legends and very interesting place as you will soon see. You will soon see some of the mysteries. This guy was just straight up creepy. So anyway, they get to the town and she like, oh, okay, Lewis, I'll hope to see you soon. And so when she turns around, like she turns off the car, uh, she does something with the window right quick. Then when she turned around, the guy is gone. And she's not, and again, this girl is a real trooper. She don't give no big reaction. So I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe he just got out of the car because I was talking. He didn't notice. So, she get out of the car and, people outside looking all strange and weird and stuff. Like that's another thing. The people, and again, when she get to that part of the town, that's all foggy and stuff. But she's still a trooper. She goes into this creepy looking hotel, and she rings the bell, and the first person to greet her is this lady who couldn't talk, and she's trying to struggle to tell this lady something. And again, you got this white lady was a trooper. She was a trooper. The young white college researcher, he was a trooper. There wasn't anything scaring her or taking her out of her game. She was determined that, hey, I'm gonna go to this town. I'm gonna do this research and whatever. So then, like another lady come downstairs slowly, walk downstairs, tall, slim, creepy looking, kind of like a much creepier Angelica Houston type, kind of face like Angelica Houston is not what you would call classically beautiful, but she's not exactly ugly as well. But she kind of got it. she's what people would say is kind of like strong in the face, have that kind of strong features, and very stoic, and again give those laid back kind of answers and stuff like that, and just matter of fact kind of answers. And this woman was creepy as well. She was creepy as well. To me, I wouldn't have want to stay no parts of this hotel. But again, this white lady is a trooper. She picked up a strange guy, not to mention taking the road to the town, creepy, dangerous, and foggy. Get to the town. The guy you was riding in your car suddenly disappears. You get out of the car, a bunch of creepy looking people walking around, staring at you funny. You go inside the hotel. The first person you meet can't talk, but they desperately trying to tell you something. The lady who check you in is super creepy. Everything was creepy. So anyway, so she goes upstairs. No. First she goes to 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 I guess look around. She meets another young lady who happened to just came to the town, take care of her grandfather, who's blind. Grandfather is kind of creepy. He's on that. Oh, be careful! These people are of the devil. And he's on that kind of thing. So she borrows a book from this lady, some book about devil worship and witchcraft, just to help her with her research. And I guess it contains some kind of history about that particular town she's in. So she's doing that. Um, at some point, she hears music, so she opens the door. And she sees a bunch of people in there dancing to music and stuff like that. So she decides to you know get dressed, and she takes off her clothes. This is a pretty good scene where she has a had what Morris Daynian would call it looked like to me what Morris Daynian would call like a camisole. She had on that. Pretty good figure. That's all I'm gonna say. She looked legit. She was on point as far as that goes. So she put on her clothes and gets dressed to go outside to participate in the party. All of a sudden, the music, she no longer hears the music. Nobody else is in the room except the creepy Angelica Houston looking lady. And she's like, "Oh, what happened to the guests? Oh, all the guests went to the night service." She says, "A service tonight at the beginning of the month." Then she looked at the calendar and recognizes from her research that this is some kind of special ritual day for people who practice witchcraft. But she's not insinuating that the people who went to the service is going to a service for that. She's thinking they're going to a service, maybe a church service, because there was an old church where she seen a old blind man whose granddaughter she got the book from. She was thinking maybe it had something to do with that. Um, so she goes in her room. Um, she goes into her room. She sees a dead bird on her bed. That's the first thing that scared her because she kind of screamed and she went out to look for the creepy Angelica Houston lady. Couldn't find her. She go back to her room and there's some kind of reef looking thing on her door. She's yelling for the lady, can't find her. But early on, she mentioned it was some kind of trap door in her room. So she found something to pry open the trap door, and it leads to like a underground cave. So she walks through the cave, and suddenly people in these hooded robes snatch her and drag her and layer onto some kind of uh, altar or something. And so then she sees the creepy Angelica Houston lady with like this big old knife. And they doing like a countdown. Uh 10, 11, and it's like a bell toning as they're counting. 10, 11, 12. Then when it gets to 13, she plunges the knife down, and as they plunge the knife down, it cuts to a party scene with her brother and boyfriend, and they commenting that, hey, yeah, so and so, I haven't heard from her, and it's not like her to not show up. And they talking, and it gives us the impression that she's been missing for 2 weeks, and why they decide to act at that point to me didn't make sense. And it was like and these are like well-to-do people. It's not like these are like poor people. These people, my estimate or assessment of them by the way they were dressed and the way that they act and the stuff that they had, even in the 50s, they were like upper class white people who had money, who had wealth. So, somebody of her caliber being missing, that would have attracted a lot of attention from different aspects of society. People like that just don't go missing. Well-to-do, blonde hair, blue eyes, attractive white women just don't go. They may go missing, but they don't go missing and it's quiet. They go missing and it's like a national search party. It's a big thing. So why they would not hear from her for 2 weeks, and then because she don't show up to a birthday party, all of a sudden, I haven't seen my sister, who I usually see every day, for 2 weeks. I haven't spoken to my girlfriend. And it's just strange. So anyway, getting past that, I guess that's it's a reason why they would have to do that, which I'll explain later. So anyway, so the brother decides to go talk to the professor, because after all, he the one who suggested that she go to White Castle anyway. So he figured maybe the professor might have a few words for him on the whereabouts of information. He talked to the professor, and the professor was like, "Hey, yeah, I don't. Hey, she went there. She wanted to go. I made a suggestion to her to go. Um, I thought she was fully capable of going there herself. I don't know what happened to her. If anything, I don't have anything to do with that. And so also what happened is that um, the brother and boyfriend did finally call the police, so the police went there to investigate, and of course he didn't. The only information he got is that the granddaughter the granddaughter had contact with her because she borrowed the devil book from the granddaughter. But and as a matter of fact, once the granddaughter got the book back, she noticed that uh, the young lady who disappeared, who was sacrificed, she left a note, and also she left a piece of jewelry. So she, in turn, goes to see the Doctor Dressel, the professor, Christopher Lee's character, and said, "Hey, I met your student. She borrowed my book, but I want to get in contact with her family to return something that she left." And he was like, "Well, let me take it to him, and I'll be willing to do." She said, "No." So she insisted. So he begrudgingly gave her the address to the family. He didn't want to do it, but he gave. At one point, I thought he was gonna strangle her and kill her before she went out the house. But the way he acted, based upon her asking for the address, so she goes to the house, meets the brother and the boyfriend, and kind of like her and the brother sparks off some kind of, I guess, semi romance. It might be some kind of romance. He's like, "Hey, I'm going up there today." Excuse me, he said, "I'm going up there tomorrow. You want to ride with me?" And he was like, "Well, no, I have to go back today because I gotta take care of she had the blind grandfather, so she had to go back soon to take care of him. So he was like, "Hey, yeah, when I come up there, hey, is it okay to stop by?" Again, trying to put his bid. He's interested in finding his sister, but at the same time, he's trying to put his bid in with the young lady as well. So that's easy to kind of see. And again, I don't have no problem with that because that's you do those things. Mixing making a mixing business with pleasure, making a bad situation good, turning lemons into lemonade. He was doing that, so I didn't really have a problem with that. So anyway, she on her way back, and again, she's kind of like new in that town as well. So on the way back, again, it's all foggy and just it would be a horrible place to try to drive. Horrible place, all foggy. You see landmarks, you see trees right when you get up on them close. You know, it's horrible. But as she's turning around, she see that same strange, creepy looking guy who the first young lady sings, and and again she lets him in the car, but she's kind of uneasy about him and stuff. You kind of see that he creepy, but I guess she's trying to be nice and like, yeah, since he's on the way to White Castle, I'm gonna give him a ride to White Castle. I wouldn't have gave that fool a ride. That fool would have just been out. And also, he said something like, "If you can see me, then you're special." So he would just say creepy little things like that, and they would kind of like this one would kind of like look, but still she wouldn't like react to people where I come from of our caliber, stuff like that. That's immediately a red flag. Something immediately that would get our spider sense to be tingling. But in that situation, since you got this fool in your car, it might already be too late. So anyway, she drives. She gets to oh, this is as far as I go, and she turned around. He disappeared. Now in her case, she's kind of visibly shaken by it. The first lady was all nonchalant. Oh, okay, guy here, gone the next, whatever. She was like more like, okay, well, something kind of weird. So she goes to see her grandfather, put her grandfather to bed, and all that good stuff. And so the next day, the brother head out. Um, the boyfriend, instead of going with him directly, he for some reason he chooses to follow him. To me, that kind of didn't make any sense, but I guess uh, it kind of plays into the story how they did the ending of it. So the brother gets there. He checks in. He meets Strange and Angelica Houston. Angelica Houston is hesitant upon giving him a room, talking about, "Oh yeah, we're going to be closed in a couple of days." He said, "Well, hey, I'm just here to really just try to find my sister. So hey, staying here for 2 days is good to me." So okay, so he takes the room that his sister had and stuff like that, and then he goes to um, meet with the no, actually, the young lady calls for him, and as she's calling him, he kind of like walks into the room with creepy Angelica Houston, and she says his name, and he said, "Oh, is that call for me?" Like, yeah. So the girl asks him to come over and all that good stuff. He does talks about it. The grandfather give him a warning about things, and they plan to see each other soon. At that point, so he goes back to his room, and so at that point, strange things start to happen. She goes she goes to a desk and she's like, "Grandfather, there's a dead sparrow on the desk." And he's like, "Oh no, shut the door. Oh, the door. There's some strange vegetation on. Oh, shut the door. We gotta like leave. They're coming for you. They're coming for us and all that." So she tries to call the guy again. She gets him in the process of talking to him. I guess whoever's coming to get her, they're coming to get her because on this day, and it's kind of why the movie had to be like 2 weeks before they got interested enough to go find the sisters, because there's another special ritual day that they have to do, because apparently for their ritual to work, they gotta kill two young ladies within a 2 month period. Excuse me, 2 week period. So one on the 1st of February, then the next one 2 weeks later. So I'm assuming Valentine's Day on the 14th. So in that movie, it was some kind of ritualistic day. I don't know if it's like that in real life, but in this movie, it was. So they had to kill another young lady. And, since the girl with the blind grandfather was there, hey, she fit the bill. So they took her. Um, the guy, the brother character, he he goes and get a some kind of gun, but it looks like a little starter pop gun or something like that. And so as he doing that, he noticed that his friend had followed him there, but the friend got into some kind of car wreck before he got there. But he dragged himself there anyway. So the brother puts the boyfriend in his car, and he goes off to um, find the young lady. He sees them dragging her through the graveyard, and but before that, he finds the dying father, and the dying father told him, because he asked, "Well, how do I stop this?" And the dying father, his last words was, "The shadow of the cross, the shadow of the cross will stop them." Didn't really explain what that meant, but find the cross, and the shadow of the cross will stop him. So anyway, he sees them taking the girl into the graveyard, but before he can get there, they shut the door on him. So he noticed earlier when he went into his sister's room that there was a trap door. So he went into the trap door and again found the cave, traveled through the cave, and he was able to um, find find the girl before they did the ritual. So to distract him, he kind of like shot him with the pop gun, but that didn't do anything. So they ended up moving the ritual until upstairs into the actual graveyard. So so how they had to do it in order for their ritual to work, they had to they were going by the tones of the bell. So when the bell toned at the 13th time, that's when you sacrifice the victim, because that signified the 13th hour. So they were under some kind of time constraint. So you couldn't do it before, you couldn't do it after. So they doing all this fighting and struggling. So at some point they subdued the boyfriend, but the no, excuse me, not the boyfriend, but the brother of the first girl who got sacrificed. Um, but the boyfriend, he managed to despite being injured from the car wreck, he gets to the graveyard and he's standing by a cross. So the boyfriend sees him by the sees that he's close to the cross, and he's like, "Yeah, grab the cross. It's the shadow of the cross." So I guess that means take the cross out of the ground and bring it close to the people doing the ritual. So he tries to do that, and so before he can pull it out of the ground, the Angelica Houston character, she takes the knife that she was going to sacrifice the girl with and throws it and hits the guy in the back. He goes down. We think at the end of him, but he still got some strength left with the knife in his back. He pulls the cross out. And it's a big cross maybe 6 feet. And so he started taking it close to the people in the ritual, and they started just bursting into flames. So the Angelica Houston character is trying to rush. Christopher Lee was like, "No, no, wait till the 13th time of the bell to do the sacrifice." So they don't get to that point because the guy with the carrying the cross, he got close to all of them and it burnt them up. Maybe except the last two, they ran away. But because they didn't do the ritual, we find out that the creepy Angelica Houston character was the witch that was burnt in 1692, and that she was doing these rituals to stay alive. And so since she didn't finish, she died. And that's kind of like how the movie ended. It was a pretty good movie. Um, it was just that it the writing wasn't super bad, but it was bad because it kind of put them in certain constraints to where they couldn't do anything. Uh, that like them waiting 2 weeks to go find the sister. That was only wrote written that way so that it would coincide with that other other day of sacrifice. So that's why that was written that way. Otherwise, why would you wait 2 weeks you haven't seen your sister, your girlfriend in 2 weeks. Why would you wait till then to do anything? Uh, and I guess the other problem with it was kind of like with the first girl. She's by herself driving in this spooky town she never been in. It's like either she's really brave or like extremely stupid. Because it's like you putting yourself in danger going to a creepy town with a bunch of creepy people to do some research for some paper. Hey, just read a book. Read a series of books. It's better than doing that. But at the end of the day, the movie was watchable. It was entertaining. It was pretty good. I guess the other thing was the whole thing about picking up a cross and a cross just making these people burst into flames. That was kind of like you couldn't have come up with something else. Holy water would have made more sense than that. Or soaking bullets in blessed oil or blessed over bullets, and it was just so much other stuff you could have did than than pull a cross out of the ground, a guy with a knife in his back. It's just not realistic that he would have the energy to do, and he did it so slow. And while he was pulling up the cross, they had like 12 or 14 people with him. It only took about 3 or 4 people to hold down the girl, 3 or 4 people to hold down the brother, so that he could have sent some people to finish off the other guy before he even got to the point of pulling the cross out of the ground. So that kind of didn't make any sense. But if you ignore that, it was a pretty good movie. It was pretty watchable. The acting, for the most part, was pretty good. Uh, Again, nobody was really notable in the movie besides Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee did a excellent job because he was creepy and mysterious and scary. Now, it's not what you would call absolutely frightening. It wouldn't prevent you from going to sleep. But like I said, the atmosphere was creepy, and they got the actors, the actors they used who were meant to be kind of like, you know, strange. Yeah, meeting him in real life, some of those characters, especially the guy who would disappear out of the car, and the Angelica Houston character, yeah, they would kind of creep you out. Even though it's 1958, yeah, they would creep you out just by their look and the way they acted, their whole mannerisms and the way they carry themselves would be scary to most people. So yeah, overall, it was a pretty good movie, and I say if I'm rating it um, from 1 to 5, despite the ending kind of being goofy, and despite the whole plot device to where they have to wait 2 weeks for this second ritual day to happen before they can realize their sister is and girlfriend is missing. Despite those things, I'll give it 3.5 stars because they did a lot of other things right in that. So I give it 3.5 stars, 3.5 stars, 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. So it's pretty good. And I would definitely say, hey, if you're at home and um, you got free time for the next couple of hours, hey, watch this movie. It's pretty good. It's called The City of the Dead. Made in 1958, and it stars Christopher Lee. Check it out. All right. Until next time, peace.